Welcome back. Today's subject is one that I've been meaning to do for a long time now. And I think I'll start by saying I'm not really a huge fan of the phrase one-hit wonder, but I'll use it anyway as it's sort of one that everybody understands. I just feel there's sort of a negative connotation when people use that phrase, and I want to make it clear that I'm in no way denigrating these artists or these songs. These are all great tunes. They were all over AM radio when I was a kid growing up in the 70s, and so they sort of formed the soundtrack of my young life. Scoring even one big hit in the amazingly competitive dog-eat-dog music industry is quite an achievement, and even more so if the song is still remembered decades later, which all of these really still are. It should also be mentioned that commercial success is not always down to pure talent. There are many other factors that go into it. Quick reminder, you'll find links to Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle in the description of the video if you'd like to contribute financially. Also, of course, like, subscribe, share the video, ring the bell. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers here real soon. Here we go.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. When you started out with nothing and you're proud that you're a self-made man, and your friends they all come crawling, slap you on the back and say, please.
Of course, a common characteristic of one-hit wonders is that just about everyone knows the tune, but many don't know the artist. Be honest, how many of you knew that Stealers Wheel was the name of the group that performed this one? Stealers Wheel was formed in Scotland in 1972 by two school chums, Gerry Rafferty and Joe Egan. And while Stealers Wheel definitely qualifies as a one-hit wonder, Gerry Rafferty himself does not. As most of you will know, he went on to have a couple of huge hits in the later 70s, including Baker Street and Right Down the Line. Stuck in the Middle with You was originally included on Stealers Wheel's debut album in 1972. It remained pretty obscure at that point, but then in 1973, they decided to release it as a single and were shocked at how well it performed. It went on to sell over 1 million. It hit number 8 in the UK, number 6 in the US. But unfortunately, it was all downhill from there. The group's second album was a commercial failure, barely cracking the Billboard 200. And by the time their third album was released in 1975, the group had already disbanded. This tune has never really gone out of style, but it was immortalized in pop culture in 1992 when director Quentin Tarantino used it in his debut film Reservoir Dogs. That incredibly uncomfortable scene in which the character known as Mr. Blonde taunts and tortures a policeman while singing and dancing along to the song.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck.
The song was intentionally written as a Dylan-esque parody, and in fact, many have believed that it was Dylan over the years. The lyrics tell the dismissive tale of a sort of awful music biz cocktail party. The clowns and jokers referenced in the chorus refer to the music business executives and hangers-on. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Well, you started out with nothing, and you're proud that you're a self-made man. And your friends, they all come crawling, slap you on the back and say, please. Great little acoustic intro on this. It's played entirely on the top 4 strings, and it's a great example of what we call pedal tones. Strings 4 and 1 are just open and droning the whole time. Meanwhile, on strings 2 and 3, we have these descending double stops, mostly third intervals with a fourth thrown in there. So the first chord, going to call that D add 9, slide it down a whole step. That's C major, but played in kind of a novel way. Now slide down again. Guess what? D add 9, just a different inversion. 2 different takes on D add 9. Change the D to a C here. That's going to be D ninth, not the same as D add 9. And I suppose D6/9 by adding the open B string in there. Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. Got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair. And I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
With it, baby, 'cause you're fine and you're mine and you look so divine. Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love.
Yet another tune that is far better known than the band that created it. Come and Get Your Love was written, produced, and recorded by Redbone, a group fronted by a pair of brothers, Pat and Lolly Vegas. Now, the Vegas brothers were of Native American/Mexican descent, and so when this tune reached the top 5 in 1974, they became the first band of Native American descent to do so. The group's heritage always figured strongly in their costumes, songs, and album cover art, and the name Redbone is a Louisiana term for a person of mixed race. Now, before anybody calls me out on this, technically the band had 2 hits. In 1972, they released a song called The Witch Queen of New Orleans, which made it to the top 40, and I think that qualifies as a hit. But come on, how many of you have ever heard of The Witch Queen of New Orleans, much less given it a spin anytime recently? For any pop song to become a classic, several elements need to come together and gel perfectly. In this song, I think it's a combination of the joyful melody, the incredible bass line, don't snooze on that. I think that's a huge part of this song's appeal. And an incredibly catchy, twangy riff played on an electric sitar. Probably the greatest use of that instrument in a pop song, right up there with Steely Dan's Do It Again. I'd mentioned the groovy bass line a moment ago. Let's dig a bit deeper into that. You've got the intro, which is in D. So simple, root 6/5, but it just draws you in. Nice staccato feel. For the verse, we move to E minor. The chords are E minor, A major, D major, and B minor. That's a classic E Dorian minor progression, and the bass line stays right within that scale. Still staccato. And then the chorus, we bring in some 16th notes and things open up a little bit. The staccato feel is gone. I love that part right there. It's the 16th, 8th, 16th feel in that measure. For years, this tune contained one of those classic misheard lyrics, for me anyway. I always thought he was singing "Hey, hey" in the intro, but it's actually "Hail, hail." And in fact, the tune was first released as a promo track under the title "Hail." And then it was changed when it was put on their fifth album, Wovoka, in 1973. Wovoka, by the way, was a Paiute religious leader. And then, of course, it was released again as a single in 74, and that's when it really took off. Hey, hey, what's the matter with your head? Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, what's the matter with your mind and your sign and your... Oh, oh. Hey, hey, nothing's the matter with your head, baby, find it. Come on and find it. Come and get your love.
And I can't let go. With you I'm not shy to show the way I feel. With you I must try my secrets to reveal. For you are a magnet and I am steel.
And finally, we get a tune from 1978, Magnet and Steel, from Walter Egan. Incidentally, as far as I know, no relation to Joe Egan from Stealers Wheel. This is a tune that just about everyone of a certain age will be familiar with, but I'm sure many of you don't know. Features backup vocals from Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, and was actually inspired by Stevie herself. The story goes that when Egan got his first record deal, he was searching around for a producer and was fantasizing about names like Brian Wilson and Todd Rundgren. The record label suggested Lindsey and Stevie, and it turned out to be a great fit. So at one point in the wee hours of the morning, Stevie had been contributing backing vocals to a tune called Tunnel of Love, and Egan was officially smitten. But then again, who wasn't at least a little bit smitten with Stevie Nicks back in the mid-70s? When asked in an interview if his love for Stevie was left unrequited, Egan responded cryptically that it was semi-requited. So I guess we're all going to just be left to ponder exactly what that entailed. At any rate, Egan claimed that the song was his tribute to the Stroll, a tune that became a big hit in the 1950s and even triggered a dance craze.
Feels so good, take me by my hand. I feel so good.
And with that in mind, you can absolutely hear the similarities in the beat and the 12/8 time signature. The promotional video for the tune opens with an image of an old 1950s style jukebox. But in spite of the 50s influence, this tune still manages to be pure 1970s pop, and I love it. It made it to number 8 in the US, number 9 in Canada. Interestingly, I couldn't see any information about how it might have charted in the UK. Maybe it just wasn't a thing there. I know there are quite a few people that watch the channel from that part of the world. Maybe you guys can weigh in and tell me if it made any sort of a splash over there. As is often the case with so-called one-hit wonders, this song has cropped up several times over the years in movie soundtracks, most notably 1997's Boogie Nights. There's something about a tune like this that evokes even more nostalgia than, say, a tune from the Stones or Led Zeppelin. Acts of that magnitude are still so much in the public consciousness that they're not so much associated with a single decade. But you drop something like this in there, a guy like Walter Egan, who hasn't exactly dominated the charts in the last several decades, it instantly brings you back to that time. The verse is based on 2 simple chords. We start off on a B with that cool little build-up, right? And then back and forth between A major and B major. It's B mixolydian. And then I love how the chorus slips into what feels like C sharp minor. And that classic minor progression, 1, 6, 7, which is used in Stairway to Heaven and All Along the Watchtower and about a million other things. Now I told you so, you ought to know. Ooh, it takes some time for a feeling to grow. Ooh, you're so close now, I can't let you go. I can't let go. With you I'm not shy to show the way I feel. With you I might try our secrets to reveal. For you are a magnet and I am steel. That's a wrap on yet another video. Hard to believe I've done over 100 of these things now. Thanks so much for watching to the end. Gonna have another one out next week, of course. Fridays, you've probably noticed, Fridays is usually the day I try to put something out. Thanks a lot. We'll see you then.